Hey, I'm Shan, and welcome to A Quest for the Songs, the life and work of Anne Baring, episode 5 in my series attempting to document the incredible book by Anne Baring, A Dream of the Cosmos, Quest for the Soul. And I am documenting that through song because I'm a singer-songwriter, a music therapist, a sound healer, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm also doing a Masters of Science in Consciousness, Spirituality and Transpersonal Psychology, and I see this as a form of subtle activism for trying to raise consciousness. It's an amazing book, and I think everybody should read it. I've gone on to read part 2, and I've read chapter 4 and chapter 5. So chapter 4 was all about the Great Mother, and chapter 5 was about the shamanic vision. And it's great. I'm going to focus on chapter 4, the Great Mother. So before religion really kicked in 4,000 years ago, going back 25,000 years ago, we had mostly shamanic type of cultures that worshipped the Great Mother, and the whole cosmos and the world and everything in it, and us and animals and plants were all part of the Great Mother. We were the Great Mother's children, and everything was seen as connected, and especially we were connected in with nature. So that's what it's all about. And so I've been documenting it. I've read that chapter a few times now. I've been writing down all my little quotes and journaling about everything. I'll read you a little bit about this. I want to read you a small bit about rhythm, actually, because I'm a musician and a music therapist, and I love music with every atom of my being. So this kind of stood out to me as being pretty cool. Rhythm is a primary characteristic of the Great Mother. The movement of the moon, sun, and stars, the seasons of the earth and water all reflect the underlying rhythm of life. All have specific rhythms which affect the rhythm of our own lives. Each moment we inhale and exhale. Each night we withdraw into darkness to be regenerated for a new day. Our birth and our death reflect the same rhythm. So like the beating of the drum beat in shamanism, the beating of the heart is all linked into the Great Mother and the rhythm of the Great Mother and the heartbeat of life. Everything, everything has a pulse. If you look into Buddhism, everything is pulses. And then the moon was a huge symbol of the Great Mother era, and this era is called the lunar era because the moon was so worshipped and revered in this era and connected to the Great Mother belief. And I'll read you a quote from a page in that chapter. The constant rhythm of the moon's waxing and waning taught us to perceive light and darkness in relation to each other. It held them in balance rather than in opposition to each other, because the totality of the moon's cycle embraced both light and dark phases, therefore symbolically included both life and death. So the moon was showing us that lightness and darkness has to exist together. Like they can't be pulled apart, because one exists because of the other. And this is Jung's we live in a world of opposites, which is totally, yes, of course we do. And this goes against the kind of solar era, which was to come after the lunar era, which was more patriarchal and worshipped just the light and the sun, S-U-N, and the sun, S-O-N. But in the lunar era, both the light and the darkness were seen as one thing, two sides of the same coin, and that we had to try and bring everything into balance, and everything was connected. It's an incredible chapter. It's all, it goes into all the goddesses over thousands of years in Egypt, the goddess of Isis and the Hathor, so many different goddesses. They worshipped sacred imagination, and that's one thing that was lost with the patriarchy, is that imagination, which was always associated with the feminine, this imaginary world that we have, was in the patriarchy just and the scientific revolution, it doesn't mean or matter at all, the imagination. It's not, you can't prove anything, it's just all made up. Whereas in the lunar era, the imagination was seen as just as important as reality. And if you think about it, everything in our world as we know it, the idea has come from imagination. Everything has come from imagination. So it seems ridiculous that we just make it out to be nonsense and silly and made up. And in this lunar era, imagination was seen as just as important as reality, sacred imagination. So you can't get one without the other, and it's like the darkness and light, and also the visible and the invisible worlds. So the invisible world was seen as just as important as the visible world, and everything was interconnected with each other. And that is why relationship and connection is seen as a feminine trait. Everything was in connection with each other, and everything was just as important. Reality was just as important as imagination. Darkness was just as important as light. So now I've got to go and write the song, and that's what the next episode will be. It will be me writing the song about this chapter. So wish me luck. Even though I've got loads of material to go by, I don't know how I'm going to whittle it down, but I will. But I'll see you next time for the song. Thank you so much.